I'm trying to control myself. Oh my god.
That's good though. Do you want to do that one more time? So we've got two options.
What? The
Yeah.
whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh god, thank you. Oh my god, you've started me now. My eyes are small anyway and my eyes are going to sleep. You tell me now what to do.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you're new, then welcome. This channel is all about honest and transparent beauty advice and tutorials and hacks that genuinely work. Now today is a super special video because I've got my mum back in because you guys love her so much, and I'm going to be showing you how to avoid the under eye creasing for mature skin. Now this is a highly requested video, so I honestly can't wait for you guys to learn about everything you can do to avoid that under eye creasing. Now before we head into the video, if you do like this video, then please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. And don't forget, please do head over to Instagram so you can follow me there, so you can see some unboxing, some product reviews, and just generally what I get up to in life when I'm not filming for YouTube. Now let's jump straight into the video. Okay, so I'm applying some eye cream. I'm using the Ulla Henriksen Wrinkle Blur eye cream, and I'm just patting it in onto the under eye area. Now my mum doesn't have anything on the skin other than her moisturiser. She's already got a little bit of eye makeup, and she also has some lipstick and her brows are done. So I'm just patting this in here. Now you've really got to make sure that you use the right type of eye cream. We've used an eye cream which is a gel, so it isn't overly greasy, it kind of sinks into the skin, but it also does have a slight blurring effect, which is great for the type of video that we're filming. So you want something that's going to leave a slightly tacky finish, so it's very slightly tacky, which means that when we apply our concealer, it's going to stick really well and it's not too fluid and greasy underneath. I'm using the Hourglass Vanish Concealer in Apricot, and I'm just going to apply the concealer here. This is a damp beauty blender. Now I'm going to squeeze it like this so that you kind of like thin out the sponge. So if we use it just like that, it's quite fat and thick. So I'm going to just squeeze it like that so that I've changed the shape of the tip slightly and it fits in nicely on the under eye area. Now this is where we're going to start buffing. We're going to just kind of press, very small movements. We're not pressing, we're not taking the sponge out too far. We're really kind of keeping it very close to the skin, and there are no big movements. We're staying within that area. We don't want to apply this concealer anywhere else. Now this gives an amazing flawless finish to the under eye area. Just anywhere you really apply this concealer, it is an amazing concealer. It's one of my favorites. Now you can already see, look how clean that is. Can you see that, Mum?
Yes.
It's completely clean there. It's totally flawless.
Yes.
So now what we want to do is we're going to go over to the other side. Now, then I'm going to go through step by step how we finish it off and make sure that you can avoid getting that creasing. Now the trick is when you're trying to avoid under eye creasing, you've got to give yourself time. We applied our eye cream, we let that settle down a little bit, then we went in with our concealer and we're now waiting for it to just self-set a little bit. We've let that settle down a little bit, so I can see that it's not so fluid, it's slowly, very, very slowly, kind of like setting, drying up, whatever you want to call it. We're now going to go in with our foundation. I'm using the Dual Face and Body Foundation. This is a lot warmer because our concealer was a lot lighter because I wanted that brightness on the under eye, and I'm just pressing it in onto the under eye area. And I'm going to take this foundation everywhere else on the face because I obviously want to make sure it's even all the way around. Now we've got the foundation on and we haven't put anything else on. I've let it set for a little while. Now when I say set, it doesn't mean that I'm letting it set completely, it just means that I'm letting it kind of semi-set. So now you can see, if you look up for me, you can see that there is some creasing on the under eye area because obviously it isn't fully set, we haven't put any powder in yet, and it is a fluid. You are going to start collecting that product within the lines here. So what I'm going to do now is take my beauty blender, squeeze it, and I'm going to use the very tip of the beauty blender. Now what I'm doing is I'm just taking out that creasing. Now one thing I want to explain is you will see creasing before you actually apply the powder, but that's normal. That's because the product collects and it's fluid, it has no powder on there, it's going to start collecting because wherever you have fine lines or wrinkles and you've applied product on top, it is going to sit in those fine lines. It's inevitable, it's going to, it's normal. But what we want to do is try and avoid how much product sits in there. So now that we've let it set, very quickly I just want to make clear that although I've said to you I love semi-setting products before I move on to the next stage, another reason I do let it sit there for a little while is because I want that product to collect in those lines, because I want to see how much product is collecting there so that I can take that product out. If I don't wait and I just go straight in with my powder, what's going to happen is you haven't allowed all that product to collect, so it's probably going to collect a little bit later on. Now the advantage to my way of doing this is we have let it collect there. We're now going to take out that product from those fine lines, which means that product is no longer there, so it isn't going to collect later on. There isn't any extra product to collect in those fine lines. Now I'm just taking the product away and basically scraping over those fine lines very, very lightly, by the way, because I don't want to press because I'm going to take away all that coverage. So that's why I'm only using the tip to just collect. I'm literally pulling out all that product from those fine lines. Now what I'm doing is I'm going in with my powder. I'm using my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. Now usually you see that I use the Real Techniques setting brush. I'm not using that today, I'm using the Fenty 200 brush. Reason being is because the Real Techniques setting brush fits perfectly under my area, but with my mum I feel like it's a smaller area and I do want to get really precise setting, so I'm using a smaller brush. So now that we've collected all the product here, so I'm just going to collect any excess, that's it. We're now going to go in with the powder and I'm basically pressing it there, directly below the lash line, because that is the area that my mum collects most of the product in the fine lines. So I'm going there first. And the reason I know that is because that's where the product has collected while I've been waiting. If yours is down here, then obviously you collect all that product out with the sponge first, and then you go in with your brush. Now I'm very lightly pressing, like I'm not putting a lot of powder on. You definitely don't want to bake if you have mature skin. It's going to be way too much powder and you don't need that amount you don't need the baking technique. So as you can see, look at the difference. That's really nice and matte there. You've still got the shininess on the other side, but you've also still got those lines and the product started to collect in those lines. So this way round, you're not going to get that creasing because you've really taken time to let each step and product semi-set and then move on to the next step. Okay, so we're doing the same thing here. I am just kind of collecting whatever product is in those lines. Now I'm going in with my powder and my brush. Now I'm applying the product on the under eye area here. And the good thing about this technique is a lot of people obviously don't like the under eye creasing, who would do, to be honest, but they still want to have that nice dewy look. And the nice thing is you can still have that really nice dewy look and just set the under eye area that way. You still have that nice natural glowy look, but you know you're not going to get that horrible creasing on the under eye area. Plus, just a quick note guys, when you do use this technique, you will find for the first half an hour or so, it will look very matte and just freshly done, and that's just because you've only just done it. Give it about half an hour for it to settle down onto your skin, and then you start to see your natural oils come through, which is just enough for it to look like it mixes in really well with the rest of the dewy skin look. Now you can also use this technique on areas like this. So for example, you've got the smile line here, stretch it, lift out all the product with the sponge, and then you can go back in with your powder. I'm actually stretching it before I apply the powder because I want to get that powder right into those lines. Now the reason being is because if I just put it over it, basically in between those lines, you're going to find all that moist product. I want to dry out all that product just a little bit so that you don't get any product collecting in the middle. Just stretching it out, making sure we collect any product, and then I will just stretch. So like I said, it's going to take a little while for this to settle down and it starts to look a little bit kind of semi-matte rather than fully matte on the under eye area. Now I'm going to just finish off the rest of the face. I'm just going to add some blush, etc. Just finish it off, and by that time her skin would have settled down and it looks a little bit more lived in on the under eye area. And plus I feel like my mum is falling asleep. You could tell when she was looking up, she was like literally one eye just could not. That happens a lot to me, by the way. People fall asleep when I'm doing their makeup.
Really?
Yeah, my clients when I'm working on them, especially if it's a bride. Like I had a bride yesterday and I was doing her makeup and she was nodding off as I was doing her. Yeah, she was really tired. So it does happen, I'm so used to it. A lot of people find makeup application therapeutic.
Yes.
Do you?
Mm.
Do you feel like it just relaxes you?
Yes, it does.
But also I know you don't like doing your own makeup, do you?
No, I don't.
I'm just going to apply some mascara, and I'm just using the NARS Climax mascara. And I'm going to apply some on this side. I'm going to apply some blush, but I'm using the back of my sponge, and I'm actually using the Stila Putty Blush, and this shade is Bronze to Gladiola, and it's the peachy shade. And I'm just pressing this in. It's a really nice kind of like bouncy, it's not powder, it's like a creamy gel, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a bouncy type of texture. I'm just pressing this into the skin here, because we left the rest of the skin quite kind of dewy because we didn't apply too much powder on those areas, so we can go in with a kind of more creamy texture.
So there you go. I really do hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you've taken lots of tips and tricks away with this. Now, if you do have any questions about anything that I've mentioned in this video, then please do let me know in the comments box below. All of the products are listed in the description box below. And as always, if you like this video, then please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care, and I'll see you soon.